put this up a little bit. I got the good glare going on my glasses.
You got glare going? All right. Well, we're starting with or without the glare. We're going to start this podcast here.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have smoke blocking your view? That's my question.
No. In fact, I thought it was supposed to be a big steamy week. It's about 62 degrees outside. It's a beautiful morning, and I don't see the haze, but our precious Aurora, the Fighting Auroras, had to go inside.
Don't get us canceled, Pat. Don't get us canceled.
Don't do it, Royce.
They had to be. They had to protect their fans, and I'm sure it was out of an abundance of caution, don't you think?
This just struck me. Let's bring back the ride with Royce. Maybe we just do like an hour live. You're a little older now. Let's do a little an hour live, and I think a new segment can be every single day. Royce tries to get us canceled, and we'll just.
Well, did you see that when I think it was the Yankees when they postponed that game, said it was out of an abundance of caution. Even the Yankees have said that.
Does anyone ever say it's out of a modicum of caution, or is it always an abundance of caution?
It's
a sliver of caution.
Who came up with that? I did a thing on a couple of years ago. Who came up on it?
Big time COVID. It definitely came alive.
I know, but somebody said that at the start of COVID, and it became rampant everything. I'm going to go to the bathroom and take a whiz out of an abundance of caution.
Because you don't want to wet yourself,
No, really. It's an abundance of caution. God almighty. That's when we started going downhill right then, when we had to come up with an abundance of caution. That was it. Much worse than anything else that's ever, happened. Anyway.
Well, our guy Carlos Correa has come alive here in the last few weeks, Pat.
How does that happen? How are you just awful, and then all of a sudden for 4 days you're great? I don't get how that happens. Now I know how he hit the home run. The guy, a couple at the Simber threw him a big cookie, and then the guy did it again for the grand slam. But the fact is, he wasn't even hitting the cookies before, so. I don't know, and then hitting the ball at right field yesterday off the limestone up there, and it turned into a triple. Everybody was ripping the right fielder. Listen, I said this already today on Twitter. This is one of the great elements of target field, the mystery of right field. Right? Mm-hmm. It's our own mini monster out there because you got to know how to play it. And I looked up this guy, Brian Anderson, who was playing out there yesterday, mostly a third baseman in Miami. He first year in Milwaukee. He probably never been out there before. He runs towards the wall and goes boing over, goes past him. I think it's great. It's one little element. Every ballpark's got strange, goofy stuff in it. Most of them anyway, and we have that in right field, so let's enjoy it. And
that was a big thing when they built that ballpark, because when it used to be the Metrodome, the baggie was just all the same, right? It would just hit off the baggie. Yeah. And then you had Michael Kadire used to be out there for like 2 hours before every game in the first season, and Kubel trying to figure out, okay, if it goes off the limestone, it ricochets back to home plate, basically. If it goes off the board part,
Sometimes you see a ball of guys who played out there and they see where the ball's going to go. They're running the other direction. They're not running towards the ball. They're running away from the ball because they know it's going to hit off that wall. But it's also hard to judge. Is it going to hit on the limestone? Is it going to, and sometimes it can really boomerang off the whatever's below the limestone too. So it's really those balls are a mystery, which is fine, which is great. And, that poor guy yesterday, he's sprinting towards second base, trying to get the ball as it bounces over his head. I think it was fun. But everybody's saying, he played it horribly. Well, he's never been there. And, this is another thing about not taking infield or anything before the game. They might hit him 3 fly balls out in right field and say, okay, that's it, you're good.
Yeah. If you get a weird bounce, you're just unlucky, right? We're just going to bank on
we can't have you out there. One of the worst things ever happened to baseball for the fans, because they have to take this half hour for crap before the game, throwing out first balls and advertising and all this other stuff, not having infield. It was a good reason to get to the ballpark because even if you got there a half hour late, with only a half hour to go, you got to see him take infield. And it was like the ritual was that's it. The game starts in 5 minutes, right? Because the last guy threw the ball over to first base. And it only took 8 minutes, for God's sake.
When did that stop? 90s?
Oh, a long time ago. And it's because every club now, when they put out the schedule, has abandoned the field. You got to be off the field by, 32 minutes before the game starts so they can do all their nonsense,
Yeah, we need we need 16 ceremonial first pitches. We need the kids choir to get out there for the national anthem.
My favorite was when I was in Pittsburgh one day and they were having a gay pride thing, and this was early in the gay pride movement, 12 years ago maybe. They had the gay person throw the ball out about 25 minutes before they sneaked the person out there, had him throw with a little tiny quiet announcement, and then everybody 15 minutes later they had the pregame ceremony. But how about downtown Minneapolis this weekend? Gay Pride, Swiftie, and Twins playing every day.
Transportation shutting down.
No, Swiftie's next weekend.
Oh, is Swiftie next weekend?
In fact, I think all of this is next.
Gay Pride is next week. So the Twins
next weekend.
And the Twins are gone. I thought it was this weekend because I saw the big drama about whether they're going to run trains or not. How can they be that stupid? You run that train. I saw the train go by a couple of times. A couple of days ago, I happened to be there. Nobody on it. Zero pedestrians, zero people. But now we have a chance to have people hanging on the top of it, trying to get home, but we can't find. Tell these people not to work until, change their hours to have them work midnight, for goodness sake.
Or just add hours or why can't we just
add
extra
they say they don't
shifts?
have enough people. Well, they're paying them overtime. The people. You got to just change your hours that day and say,
is the grandkid going? That's my question. Is the granddaughter going?
I don't know if she's going. I haven't checked. What we get here? About 200 a pop for tickets?
Thousands. If you can find a ticket for $200, you are golden.
No. So what was
going for $325, Pat?
Okay, but is that cheap. And then so are they scalping them then, Declan, or was that the original prices?
So when we looked the other day, it was in the thousands of dollars to see Taylor Swift at US Bank Stadium. I'm going to pull it up right now. Thousands of dollars.
But is that now scalping prices though? Because the original all sold out, or secondary market, right?
Probably StubHub, right? By the way, real quick, while Declan looked this up. Is that Ticket King office that has Dark Star's jersey hanging? Is Ticket King still a thing?
Yeah, they're still there. He's still there.
They're still there.
Okay.
But
St. Paul too.
I don't think they have the same service charges. I saw someone today that said the service charge, if you want tickets for the gym, they're already selling them for the gymnastics trials, are like $600 for the week, but $300 service charge to get the ticket. What is that? What is that? Why don't we arrest these people? Why don't we take them? Why don't we take them out in handcuffs, for God's sakes? What the hell?
It's actually genius. We should start charging for these Royce Unchained episodes. Hey, it's just 50 cents an episode.
Yeah,
$75 service charge.
It is. It is amazing.
To be in the 200 or 300 level, it is $1,200 right now on StubHub to see Taylor Swift. It's $1,200. $1,200.
Wow.
I can go to
just
to
get in the door. In the door.
Wow.
You could just have some friends over and play Taylor Swift music on your.
She's gonna do 60 2 nights in a row though, huh? 60,000. She must take $5 million out of here, more than that. Huh?
And she doesn't cheat, man. She does like a 3-hour plus show.
Yeah.
It's very Bruce Springsteen.
Who we miss right now? Sid. Sid would have had an in on no fewer than 50 Taylor Swift.
Oh, yeah, he would have. Who would have been beaten up to get him? The commission probably, huh?
Yeah.
He would have. He could always beat somebody. I can't complain. I hit him up for Yankee tickets when I took my son and I went out there just to watch. We were sitting directly behind Mayor Michael Bloomberg, and the good thing about it is he's short, so you can see right over him. He's about 2'8", so you can see right over him, and he had like 4 people there, and then we were second row right behind him. Unbelievable.
Amazing.
Like we could always rip Sid for his graft, but unless we were the recipients of it, then we were fine.
You get your hands out, yeah. Give me some time.
Sid. Thank you, Sid.
Hey Pat, we gotta read you a quote here that came out yesterday. I'm not sure if you're a frequent listener of the Pat Bev podcast. I know he's one of your favorite players.
Oh God, I saw this.
But Pat Bev, one of your favorite players, had another one of your favorite players on as a guest yesterday, Karl Anthony Towns.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a quote from Karl Anthony Towns on the Pat Bev podcast. "When my time is up and I retire, there will be people that say I changed the game."
Yes, I stole $235 million. What the best part though was Pat Bev apparently introduced him as the best center in the NBA. You didn't.
I think he called him better than Jokic. Yeah,
he did. You didn't watch much of the finals there, then, Pat Bev. Pat Bev is an idiot. Okay, let's start from that premise. He's a complete idiot. I was so damn happy when they got rid of him. I couldn't stand him. He's a complete fraud. Plus, he thinks he can shoot. That's the worst part about him. He can't shoot, but he'll throw one up from the corner with a minute to go, and you're 2 points down, and go bang, and but he'll defend until he gets his 6 fouls. But I was so glad they got rid of that moron. I couldn't stand it.
Yeah, there was also a discussion, I'm paraphrasing here, but that Kat was saying when we went to the playoffs a couple of years ago, and we had a bunch of new guys kind of putting things together. Yeah. Chris Finch, new system. That was actually more impressive to cobble a playoff team together in that short of time period than the Nuggets winning the championship, having gelled for 4 years.
What is wrong with these people? Is this delusion or is it just talking? They don't believe it. We did say that Cat, had kind of kept his mouth shut about not wanting to trade or anything. We were saying the other day, but he's certain to say something stupid. Who could have guessed within 24 hours he would have made one of the, the Dan Coley's got his winner, doesn't he? He doesn't have to look at it.
Preposterous.
That's
got to be a 1 seed for sure.
There's nothing that can defeat this. Yeah. I changed the game. What is wrong with him?
This is the advantage, Pat, of having players do podcasts. When players get on with players, they completely forget that they can be heard by the rest of the world. It's not like when they're on with us and they're cautious.
And they just kiss each other's rear ends ungodly. It's unbelievable that you're the greatest, and how lucky am I to get you? And man alive, I saw that and I said, somebody's got to be making this up. This can't be true. But then I saw it from 6-8 different people.
Yeah, the clips are out there.
But when can they trade him, by the way?
Well, July technically 1? Like the second week of July. But you could do, I think what happens all the time in the NBA is, in theory, you could do a draft night trade and say, hey, these two teams have agreed on, and then like let's just use the Portland example. Portland would draft Scoot Henderson with the 3rd pick on your behalf, and then the trade would be consummated like 2 weeks later.
One thing we learned from Tim Connolly last year is you're not going to know what's going on beforehand, because there wasn't a hint that he was going to trade the franchise for Rudy Gobert, and all of a sudden it occurred, right?
And that's one thing I keep seeing. Like, I don't want to throw anyone under the bus here specifically, but like I keep seeing this notion that, hey, by all indications, the Wolves are planning on running it back, so everyone needs to calm down on like the Cat trade speculation. Well, we don't.
We were.
How do you know at this point?
We were assured 20 days before the Gobert trade that I know one thing: I don't have to blow this up. Connolly said, right? He was. I'm not coming into a rebuilding situation. Boom! Nuclear explosion. So yeah, you don't know what he's gonna. We know that. What we know about him is we don't know. That's what we know. That's what we know about him. He might be up to who knows what. He is not going to run it back. He is not going to run it back with this immature collection of led by the most immature $235 million player in the league. He's not going to run it back.
That's the thing. How do you look at the thing that you built in its final form that just won the championship, which is one of the most calm, collected, mature, smart teams you'll see in the NBA? And then look at the team that led the league in fouls, technicals, just punching each other, punching walls.
It's but the one reason he might say not trade Cat is he might not be able to get a decent trade. He might get one number one and a stiff or something. I don't think there's going to be a huge market for this guy. I still think Brooklyn's the place he'd probably go because they gotta do something to get the pizzazz back in that franchise, don't they? So they can get him in, and then I'd love to see him in Brooklyn too, New York, someplace where they just get on him when he doesn't get the job done, huh?
His dad would love that because that's right by their home in Jersey. So
yeah,
I think he'd actually like that.
But again, none of us know. We don't know what's going on. But I just assume they'll try to move him. But it's not like, there's all indications are going to. What are you going to, if you run it back? What are you going to do? Boy, I hope we can get a home game in the play-in tournament again. That's the best you're going to do, right?
Well, and even so whatever the result is, if you run it back, you have to make a big move next summer. They're not going to go into the second luxury tax apron with all the restrictions. It's not. And by the way, it's not just the extra money that you would pay in the luxury tax. It's all the new restrictions that come in for roster building.
Yes. So, you got to do it now. Because they'll know you're desperate next year, right?
Thank you. Yes.
They'll know you're desperate next year. So if you're going to get anything for them, this is the only chance, really. So.
Yeah.
But
How did Conley? Here's my one question though, because he built a really good or helped build a good team in Denver. How did he miss so badly on Walker Kessler and how good he might be?
Yeah,
you would look at Walker Kessler and be like, okay, I got something here.
Just think of where you would think this franchise was if you just kept Kessler. Because he's the same player you were wanted when you got Gobert. Then you could say, hey, Anthony's team, and he's got this big lout in the middle who can get a rebound, and he's got a decent block of shot. And that was the big screw up. Their judge that they were, when they drafted Kessler, they thought they were drafting nobody. So
and you wouldn't, I've said this before, but you wouldn't feel obligated to have to run Kessler out there for 30, 35 minutes a night. You wouldn't feel obligated that he has to be on the floor at the end of games, that you have to start him. Like, he'd be a really good player that you could also say, hey, you know what, tonight, not really a Walker Kessler night, just based on the matchup, and no one's going to be offended or, all chapped.
And plus, when you look around the West now, right, Oklahoma City's got so many draft choices, they're giving them away. They made some trade here. Take some of these. We don't know what to do with them. Utah, they got thousands of them. They're gonna be. If you don't do something, they're gonna be passing you like Ferraris, man.
Actually, so we the internet loves to put together cat trade ideas now because it's just everything's floating around. So one of them we saw the other day was Oklahoma City looking to get to the next level. And they've got all these first round picks, like you said, just cobble like 3 first round picks, a salary filler, and Chet Holmgren. Would you do that for Karl Anthony Towns?
Yes, but I don't think Chet's going to be a great player because he needs a sandwich. He weighs about 190 pounds. He's, I'm afraid he might have injury problems his whole life. I mean, he's a forward. He's the same probably less. He's even more of a 4 than Cat is, I think. So, but yeah, I'd make a trade. Yeah, anything to get rid of him that makes any kind of sense at all. And Holmgren's a shooter, and he can block, and he can do stuff like that. It's just that I don't see him muscling Jokic out of the post, however. in case Nikola wants to go down there, I don't think he can do much about it. So.
No, I don't think so. So.
Anyway,
So, Pat, we got to run because we have to clear the deck here for Kevin O'Connell to make his return to Purple Daily.
Oh, really? Here. Well, okay, good enough. Ask him if minicamp was one as well as boy. He's got a shorter minicamp than Bud. I give him credit for that. Bud used to go call her off after the morning practice on Sunday. This guy's done 2 days, so good for him. Congratulations.
Yep.
All right,
Pat. We'll catch up tomorrow.
And by the way, it's going to be a much more positive conversation when you talk to Kevin than you just had now. So
okay, well,
good enough.
Never know.
Goodbye.
Oh man, Royce Unchained, presented by our friends at Power Lodge and Miller Marine. You're looking to get out on the water, looking for some throttle therapy this summer. Clear your mind from our disappointing Minnesota sports teams, Judd. Nothing better than one of these Bennington pontoons.
Throttle therapy right there, boys. That's what it's all about. Getting out there on a gorgeous day. Summer's short, but guess what? The summer days are fantastic. Yes, the Bennington is the place to be. Look at all your friends that you can put on that thing. Have a great time. I still would love to do a podcast from one. Throttle therapy is what it's all about.
Working on it, by the way. We're working on it.
Good.
Our people are in touch with
Efforting,
their
I think,
people.
is the new age term.
We're efforting it. Powerlodge.com and millermarine.com.